So today on Project Shop, we're going to be replacing the number 5 injector on this 99 F350. Okay, before we go any further, I want to show you the actual procedures. I found my book. So this is to start off with. You're going to need the valve cover. Okay. And this is everything they explain on that page. Just go ahead and pause this. And that's 4. There's 5. Okay, that's all the stuff, right? And then I believe there's, just make sure that you see all this. And I think there's a little more right there. So that's for the valve covers, and then here is the torque specs. Let me get you all this just in case you ever need that. There are the torque specs on the valve cover bolts. 96 inch-pounds. There's your firing order. And then we have the actual injectors, okay? So there's some torque specs here. I got into some other things. I wrote down my own specs, but this is right there. 108 inch-pounds for the oil deflector shield bolts, and the outboard bolts 120 inch-pounds. And then here are some more just in case you need those. And then here's the actual procedure for the fuel injector. Okay, just go ahead and pause that wherever you need it. And get that. And I think it continues right there. And then installation. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. And then I'll show you throughout the video what it actually took me to do this job without the book. But that's how you should be doing it. We're going to remove the turbo tube, and I think maybe that wire, and we might be able to get to it pretty easy. I got a new injector. I think it was 170 bucks or something like that, or maybe even cheaper than that. I got a new K&N filter. I got a new valve cover gasket. Since we're there, we might as well change it. Okay, so first thing what I'm going to do, so I'm going to remove this. You got to be really careful with these old plastic clips because it ain't going to take much to break it. And these 3 11mm bolts to take this whole bracket to move it over here. Just so I got more room in here to play with. I could take it off here, but that still leaves this bracket kind of in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out of there. Okay, and for this, we're just going to slide this down. And I think we just need to push that in and wiggle. Yep. Okay, so that's out of the way. I'll just put that back there for now. And we got our 11mm set up on here. And I am a big fan of putting bolts right back where they belong immediately, so you don't lose them. So we're just going to put them back on there. This looks like a vacuum for the intake or something. So we'll just kind of get that out of the way. Okay, now I noticed immediately, man, that thing rubbed a big old groove right down in that turbo tube. That's crazy. All right, so next is the turbo tube. So we're going to take that, might as well get it right now, loosen this up. Oh, shit. I might have went too far on that. Yeah, sorry. We're gonna get all that off and clean it up, and Let me get this set up to where I can work. So what we're gonna do is pull that all the way off and degrease this, clean this up pretty good, inspect it. Looks like we're rubbing here, and we definitely rubbing there. I mean, that's almost all the way through. Wow. I don't know how well that's coming through, but there's no way that that plastic chafed in there like that. Where was that touching? Where was that at? It was over here. That was something over here. Man, it looks like that plastic literally rubbed into that aluminum. Well, so we'll be looking into getting new pipes and looking into finding ways of getting this stuff so it doesn't chafe. Maybe we can wrap this with some insulating stuff, keep the intake temp down a little bit maybe. So we'll go ahead and get some degreaser on this and then see what our next step is going to be. Okay, so it looks like the next step is going to be trying to move these hoses. Now I can easily undo them, but I think I could probably just get away with pulling them out of this and hold them up over here to the side. I'm going to go ahead and get some paper towels and stuff in these two holes for the intake, just so we don't get nothing on there, because I'm going to come in here with the blower real quick and just blow out. Just make sure there's no dirt going to fall down. Okay, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but one of the first things I did was disconnect the battery, because we're going to be messing with electrical stuff, disconnecting electrical components. So it looks like, yeah man, I could probably just put a zip ties through here. Okay, so I got everything kind of zip tied up out of the way, and I might just move that up out of the way too with a zip tie. Yeah, so I'll pull them wires up out of the way, and then there's 10 bolts. So we got one right there, and these are 13 millimeter, I think. Yeah, pretty sure they're 13 millimeter. And I'm going to start there and work my way around the bottom. We got 1, 2, 3, there's 4, 5, 6. It's probably going to be hardest because I can't even see it. 7, 8, 9, and then 10, which would probably be the easiest ones up here. I'll leave those for last. I blew it off pretty good. You can see I stuffed some clean tissue up in the turbo intake tubes, so we didn't blow no stuff up in there. I did take the AC lines off because it was connected to this, just to give it a little bit more room. I'm gonna see how far that comes out, and I think I'm just gonna maneuver it and sneak it right out here. Okay, as you can see, I have it. I have the wires and everything pulled up out of the way. Plenty of clearance everywhere. Looks like we can pretty much get to every bolt except for those 3 really easily. So we're gonna start right here and work our way around. Okay, here we go. Got some big old extensions on here. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of crack them loose and see if I can't get the impact on there. See that one there? You're gonna need one of these. And I'm gonna put my big old extension back on there. Oh yeah, we got some wiggle shit going on here, but yep. And I think for these ones over here, I'm definitely gonna need a shallow socket. Man, some of these are tough. Probably put some extension on that bar. Okay, now I need to go find a 13 millimeter shallow socket. Because I don't think... Oh, wait a minute. Wow. Okay, so that one was loose. I wonder if that's where that little bit of oil leak I was having came from. Huh. Okay. So, I'm gonna go find a 13. Let me see how this is gonna work. That might actually do it with just a socket. I might just do it like this. Let's see. Just a socket. Just a socket. See? This is one of those bolts where you just gotta kind of feel it. Make sure the socket's on there tight. Yep. Oh, you know what? It's not bad. I think the ones... A couple more on that. I gotta get that socket now. I think the ones that are right here are going to be the toughest. The ones in here, I don't know if you can see that. The one's real close down in there. These two. It looks like short socket with the universal. Be right back. Okay, this is what I got for those two bolts. I already broke one loose, and it was kind of tough. You got to get that on there and then make sure it's seated. Man, I don't know how else to do that other than with this universal or like a yeah, you gotta be careful because it's like twisting in a funny way. I got a lot of extension going here. Shit. Yeah, that's the toughest one. I wonder if it's easier to get on that with a wrench from down there. Huh. Yeah, you know what? Let me go get a 13 millimeter wrench. Let me try this one more time. This is kind of like a weird angle. The last thing I want to do is strip something. I might be able to get it here. Get a little more on it. Oh, I got it. There it goes. Okay. So, as crazy as that freaking was, it came right out pretty much. Now, tightening these down, I don't know what the torque is on this. I actually forgot mine. Yeah, so unscrewing the oil filler cap is probably a must. And there you go. It's coming right out. Look at that. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, so there it is. There's a number 5 injector. Of course, it would have to be the one right next to the firewall, and it looks like number, whatever number that is, has been replaced. You can see it's different. So someone's been here, and they might have replaced the valve cover gasket. I don't know, we might leave it. Okay, here's our new injector. I'm just gonna kind of see if it looks the same. Yeah, it actually looks like the original ones. So I did get an OEM one. So this is what we need to do now. Let me turn this light this way. So there's a 5 millimeter socket or Allen bolt right there. We need to pull that out, pull this clip off, release the wires. And then once that's out, there's a bolt there and a bolt down there. We don't need to loosen the top one all the way, just slightly. And take the bottom one out so that thing can slide around, and then we can pry it up. And then there is, right over here, see if I can get in there, that little Allen 1/8 inch Allen bolt, and there was one here I already took out and oil was bleeding down. Ford recommends that you take that out. That's what it was. Let me pull that out of there so you can see. It's just a little oil plug. And I think what that does is you pull them out before you pull the injector out, so any oil that's up here doesn't drain down into the cylinder. I'm assuming. That's the only reason I could see why they would tell you to take that off. But we're gonna do it. So I took that one out already. I took this one out and oil started leaking here. So I'm assuming when I take that one out, oil will leak, and hopefully it won't fill the cylinder with oil. And so I undid that other one, man, and there's a ton of oil running out of there. Now we're gonna remove this clip. It just kind of slides up out of there. Get that up out of the way. Okay, it's not gonna go very far. And now we can get our 5mm socket. Wasn't very tight. Okay. Now this whole thing should come out. It's a long screw. Okay. It's just like a little piece of aluminum. I'm not sure what that does. Okay, so I can't really get to that top one, and I don't even think you have to loosen that top one up at all. I think if we loosen the bottom one, which this is a 8mm, pretty sure we got to take this one all the way out. But I don't think we need to do the top one. I think once we loosen this, that's pretty loose now. Let's see if I can't get that out of there. Of course, it had to be the one that's like right by this box and everything's tight. Last thing we want to do is drop this bolt somewhere. Let's see if I can see down in there. This bolt came out pretty easy. It wasn't I should look up the torque specs. This wasn't even that tight though. Okay. Yeah, that's loose now. Now you can see the little collar down there. There. See how that kind of slides up over off that bolt? Now we can pry this out. Okay, what I'm going to try to do is I put my wire brush down in here to give me a longer area to pry on, and so I'm not prying on this thing, but I'm just going to kind of bump this up under here and oh, there it is. The little slider was stuck. Now when we pull this out, there's a copper ring that has to come with this. Let's see, where's this? There it is. Okay. All right. Wow, look at all that oil. Woo. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is thoroughly compare these, make sure I'm putting back in the same injector I'm taking out. And I'm just going to clean this up real quick. And I already noticed like the seals are much bigger compared to what's on here. Let me spray this real quick and get it cleaned up. We'll take a better look at it. I can already see a bunch of carbon built up on this thing. Okay. So you can see a lot of stuff built up right there. And a lot of stuff, man, there's a lot of carbon. Hold on a second. I don't know if that's focused, but oh wow, yeah. See all that carbon coming off of there? See, this is what water meth injection will help with. And wow, basically it steam cleans this shit. Everything looks the same. 2 seals. See, this seal is tiny compared to that one. The big old seal. We're gonna go ahead and drop this back in and start buttoning this thing up. Okay, so I lubed the thing up with a little more oil, and we're gonna drop it down in there. Make sure we got everything off of this. It's clean. Get that back down in there. Now, we don't want to pinch no wires. There we go. And we don't want to be beating on this thing to get it down. So what we're going to do, we got to get it in there enough to where, oh, there it is. So we got the top bolt already in. Now I'm going to try to feed that bottom bolt. Now the bottom bolt should get that in there. As long as we can get a couple threads on there, pull this thing down. Oh, that's threaded in there nice already. Where's the socket? I'm going to put these 2 oil drains. You got little rubber seals, so this isn't something that you're going to tighten up super tight. Okay, so man, I was having a hard time getting those little things started because I couldn't figure the angle, and the angle is perfectly horizontal. Okay, I'm gonna say that's it. So what else we got here? Just the bolts for the valve cover. All right, so at this point, keep this shit out of the way, make sure we're not dropping shit down in there. At this point, I'm gonna go and clean, degrease the valve covers and all this stuff here, get all this cleaned up and prep for putting it back on. Okay, we got all the parts degreased. This thing's cleaned up pretty good. It's amazing that this thing only has 250 horsepower. Isn't much, but it's a diesel. That's why these things get almost 500,000 miles. My other truck's got 500,000 miles. Engine runs good. It's just starving for fuel right now. But anyway, got all this cleaned up, and definitely got to degrease these really good because I've actually had these turbo boots blow off under high boost because there was oil in there. So we got them really good and clean. I am kind of concerned with this. Doesn't look like there's any holes, but it's getting close. I mean, that pipe's not that thick, and that's a pretty big groove right there. So I'll be looking into replacing this. And I thought there was one other spot of concern. It's got a nice little gouge in it there, but yeah, that's pretty deep there, and that's incredible. I can't believe it. Those plastic things or whatever, it must have been some of these plastic things like that that rubbed them in there like that. It's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. We're gonna get that back in there like that and start buttoning this thing up. The first thing we're gonna put back in is the valve cover. I'm gonna degrease the bolts real quick. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I degreased the bolts, and the last thing I'm gonna do before I put the valve cover on is just go around with a dry rag and make sure that no dirt got on that seal when I was moving anything out. Okay, so right now I'm just kind of cleaning that edge, making sure nothing's on there. Looks pretty good. And the only thing to do now is to sneak the valve cover in there and start putting the thing back together. Okay, so we kind of just went back in there and snuck down. There. That little hose gave it a little problem, that's about it. And I can sneak it back up in here. And it just lays right in there. That's perfect. I actually dropped the bolt, it went all the way down. And I'll show you a little trick I learned back in '98. If you want to try to get your bolt to stay on there, you could use anything. I like to use a rag or something. You put your rag over your socket and then push your bolt down in it and then tear away. It'll pretty much hold your bolt for you, and you can use a piece of tape or whatever, but that's in there pretty good now, and we have less chance of it falling off. See that? See that? It's in there pretty good. And that paper, you know, you make sure that you don't want to get down in there, but let's see what we can do. Got it in the hole. Let's see. Might need to remove this. Well, I think I got it. Yep, there we go. Okay, I'm going to put the turbo tube back on. So I cleaned these aluminum housings here, both of them, the one down there with carbon choke cleaner, or yeah, and then wiped it off with a rag. You want to make sure all these surfaces ain't got no grease on it. Always should fill your oil filters up with oil. And I'm going to pour it out of this 5-gallon bucket here. Okay, she's all back together. Sounds good. Definitely don't sound like it's missing anymore. Come through. Woo, she's whistling, man. There's no way an air filter make that turbo sound that much different. Definitely not missing anymore. Well, that turbo sounds crazy. Successful day. Okay, we made it back. We ran a truck for about an hour. Took it around locally, took it around the block, got it on the highway, soared right to 80 mile an hour, plenty of power. The injector was actually pretty easy to do. And this right here is the bare minimum, in my opinion, that you would need to do that job. Okay, and this is what we got. This here, 11 millimeter, and I think this takes off the turbo tubes. And this takes off the bracket for the sensor. And then once that's off, it's 13 millimeter. You need a deep socket, and then you're gonna need a shallow socket. Okay, 13 millimeter shallow socket for 2 bolts that are real close to the AC blower housing. You're definitely going to need a universal if you're doing it from the top. I don't know if you can do that from the bottom or get those bolts from the bottom, but to me it seemed like you need that. An extension, I got 2 of them I used, and then once you get the valve cover off, it is a 8 millimeter to remove the lower bolt. You don't even need to touch the upper bolt. And then before you get to that, a 5 millimeter Allen driver to remove the oil thing, and then you can use the 8 millimeter on the bottom one. And then basically you just use this to pry the injector up. I used a piece of wood, so I didn't make any dents in anything. Now this is for that oil drain. I could see draining that was a good idea because of how much oil I watched flow out of there. Definitely did not want that going down into the cylinder. I mean, we didn't want to hopefully we didn't hydrolock nothing, so you're definitely going to need that. And then that's pretty much it. It was really simple. Now these are the tools I use for everything. This made it pretty easy using the impact driver. I'm sure one of the cordless wrenches would have been nice too. I'm in the works of getting one of those, but before even starting all that, some degreaser, carbon choke cleaner, a blower. I mean, you don't necessarily need all that, but it's good because I mean there was a lot of gunk there. And then for the oil filter, I used this, and then the plug was a 19. The batteries was a 12 and a 13, and I just used a wire brush and this because I actually have a tool to clean those. I didn't have it. A light A drop light would have been nice, but this little one worked. So basically, if you have a screwdriver and a basic set of sockets, you can do that injector job pretty easy. Realistically, start to finish, if I was just going to do that injector, I would say I can easily knock that out in less than 2 hours. 2 hours, you know, probably 2 hours would be a good time. If you're not too mechanical, it still can be done. Just take your time, you know. So good luck. If you come this far, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I got a bunch of other work I'm going to be doing to that truck and my other truck, get them back up to operating conditions. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before?